So, I'm gonna ask you a few questions and then we're gonna take some questions from the audience. Och om ni vill fråga på svenska så går det bra, så ska jag försöka att inte bli helt lost in translation, men I'll fix it if they want to ask their questions in Swedish. My Finnish isn't excellent, so they can't do that. But so I drive a Volkswagen. I feel quite happy about the tests on road, so to say, when it comes to cars and trucks, because it's hard to rely on those indoor tests. Actually, it doesn't seem like a fair play.
Yeah,
so I'm very glad it's actually changing. You haven't talked about buyers' demands and public procurement, offentlig upphandling och beställaransvar. Public procurement, when it comes to in Sweden, that's a big business actually. I think it's transport side maybe 40, maybe 50 Swedish crowns, maybe, I don't know. I haven't the freshest numbers, but it's a couple of million euro in public procurement. How do you see on the responsibility from the buyers and the demand on how their things are being transported? What kind of responsibility can we put on them?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we need to push. I mean, I think we need to look at all levels at the same time. So, I mean, I've been talking a lot here about the offer from the manufacturers, but for example, also with public procurement targets, also member states or cities also have a responsibility, I think, that to incentivize people to go for clean solutions. At the same time, what I think is also important that you pick the right solutions. I mean, for example, Europe is now discussing, it's called the Clean Vehicles Directive, where member states or cities get certain targets when they are procuring new vehicles. But there, for example, you also see that, for example, a gas vehicle is also seen as a low carbon or a zero carbon alternative. I mean, when it's biogas, that is true. But for example, when you look at natural gas, that's not really an alternative. So I think that's I mean, there also we have responsibility, but also at the same time, we also, of course, need to look at the demand and also at the demand for transport. We did some research and some projections, and actually, when you are making trucks 40% more fuel efficient, you put a lot of trucks under the catenary, that still wouldn't bring us zero because the demand for road freight is increasing so much. So basically, what you also need to do is, of course, also look at solutions, or look at solutions that also incentivize people to not always. I mean, that the demand would also curb a little bit, because otherwise we'll never ever meet the targets.
We're gonna go from this high-level consumption and the economy is like an expressway right now. So I think when it decreases, it won't be such demands for transport either, because in Sweden, for instance, we're building a lot of housing and so on, and I think that has a main part in this transport overload, if you say so. I Sverige, så tittar man på statistiken för offentlig upphandling till exempel, så ligger snitttiden för ett avtal på 3 till 4 år. The average time for a public procurement agreement is about 3 to 4 years. What is the realistic level on percentage of the number of cars, or the percentage of the trucks being used in that agreement can be like 100%.
Zero emission.
Yeah. I mean, you can say 100%, and then they have to buy new trucks for 3-year deal. That's
no. I think I don't.
Or is break even on this?
Yeah, no. I think I don't have a crystal ball, but
no.
I also no.
Okay.
I don't have it with me, but I mean, it's also true when I talk also with logistics operators, they also say, like, I mean, we also need to have some certainty. I mean, we cannot have a city changing every 5 years their strategy, for example, because then, I mean, we need to make these investments.
Swedes like when it's predictable.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess everybody, I mean, that's your business. So, I mean, I understand that you need a clear pathway where you need to go. So I think that's definitely important. About the percentage or the share of trucks, we see now Mercedes and MAN, they announced they're gonna start building, but again, these are these concepts, zero emission electric trucks up to 26 tons. MAN said they will do line production as from 2021. So, I mean, it definitely shows that, there are possibilities. But what I do think is that we need to push the manufacturers to move faster. I mean, a good example, I think, is, for example, DHL. DHL, they wanted to build their own, they wanted to have zero emission trucks, zero emission vans. They couldn't find any manufacturer who wanted to build it for them, so they built it their own, which is the street scooter. And they now have a big company with more than 5,000 people working there, and they're building their own electric van because nobody was actually wanting to build them.
the demand of
Yeah, exactly. Another example is, for example, when you look at electric buses. The biggest electric bus fleet in Europe is in London, and these are BYD, Chinese bus manufacturer.
Okay.
So it definitely also shows that, this is also a wake-up call for European manufacturers that they really need to catch up, because you now see Tesla with their truck, you see BYD, they also want to bring 18 new electric truck models on the market in Europe next year.
These models, what are their total weights, and what kind of weight can you put on?
I mean,
the
Tesla truck is a tractor-trailer truck, so that's a 40-ton truck with an 800-kilometer range.
But the 40-ton, is that the total weight, or is it how much you can put on it?
No, it's total weight. But I mean, it's a long-haul truck.
So how heavy is the battery?
That we don't know yet. They don't want to tell us that, of course.
Okay. Yeah, that's why it's so successful when they don't tell you how much.
Exactly.
Hur mycket plats kommer det här batteriet att ta? Vad kommer det att väga? Vad blir totalvikten? Och hur mycket kommer vi kunna lasta? Vad blir lastningsgraden? Degree of loading on the truck. But
we do know that. I mean, that the Tesla truck, that the battery, we don't know about the weight, but we do know that it is a truck that can carry the load of a long-haul truck in freight.
Very good.
With a range of 800 kilometers.
And there are always diseases in the beginning.
Yeah.
Barnsjukdomar, and then things change, and the early adopters like DHL will try things out. And
exactly, I expect them. Tesla will be tomorrow in the Netherlands also at TLN presenting their electric truck. So, and I think there's also already one European transport operator who ordered the Tesla truck.
Sounds kind of cool.
It sounds kind of cool, but I mean, we need to see.
I started 5 years ago in this business, so I'm like the youngest person ever when it comes to how many years I worked here, because everybody else has worked 140 years. But it's a discussion, and the whole agenda has changed in these 5 years. It's been so rapid. Alltså förändringen, vad vi diskuterade för 5 år sedan när det gäller drivmedel och så vidare, it's totally changed.
But if I can come to that, I think that's also a bit the credit also of the sector. I mean, the sector has always been a very flexible sector compared to rail. That can really adapt very quickly, and also, for example, with CERN, but also with colleagues in Brussels, they're really much involved also in the climate side, on the climate side. And I think that also has a lot to do with the sector, because it's so flexible, basically. So people, you can innovate here in this sector.
And Swedes always want to be the best. We don't say it, but we want to. So we're going to have a 70% reduction.
Yeah.
So we're a bit crazy, but it's working.
No, I mean,
we're good.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if there are any questions from the audience. Finns det några publikfrågor? Som sagt var, ni kan välja språk, men ni får hålla er till svenska och engelska. Ish. Var inte blyga nu. Ja, det var från klarhet till klarhet. Ja, men då. They're too shy. I'm not going to tell them in Swedish what I said, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Stef. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Maybe we'll see you some more time.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thanks.
Tack så mycket.